Welcome to the Grifball Community Podcast, covering all your Grifball needs. And now, your host for the Grifball Community Podcast, Pinhead Larry.
So, first we're going to talk about Pro. Why not? Because it's the hot topic. So we're going to be talking about Pro. And the first thing I want to talk about is the playoff matchup. So according to the statistics list or the Ray standings list, we have One Hit Wonders versus Next Dimension, Impulse versus Vital Signs, which are two crazy playoff matchups. And then the teams that managed to miss playoffs are Hybrid Theory and Pro Run. But why would we get the great Piggies opinion? We got to get the opinion of how she feels about Hybrid Theory and their 6-9 choke that happened last Thursday.
So bad. We lost 4 games in a row. Oh.
How did that even happen? You guys were the favorites. Bro, let me tell you, you know how bad you made me look? You know how bad you made me look? I told Tariq, I'm like, yo, how does it feel you're going to be missing playoffs with Galvinator? And then you guys lose 4 games?
Listen, man, Tariq messaged me before the games. He's like, listen, Larry's like, saying some stuff. Can you help me out? I was like, okay, no problem.
How many smite gems did he give you?
Oh, he gave me a lot of smite gems. I'm rolling in it.
Nah, okay. I'm about to stab a huge hole in that theory. Come on. Tariq's broke. He ain't got no money to give the smite gems unless he works at high res. That's not happening. So, what do you think? I play with Boss Tycoon. I know all about people who like to throw people under the bus. I want to say, let's ask the hard question here, Pig. Who do you think single-handedly lost you? Like, give the Boss Tycoon blame award to someone on your team. Who lost you the game?
That's a hard question. If I had to give someone the most blame, I'd probably say me, because that let's see, when was it? It was last Thursday. My communication was not very good. I was just, I don't know. I wasn't into it. And, like when we played you guys, Pinhead, and we came back on you guys, we scored 4 in a row. I was calling out everything. I was talking a lot, and I just didn't do that last Thursday. So, but the thing is, I've never been on a team that has the least awareness in the league. It was definitely. Listen, man. When I started seeing people, I'm not calling anybody's name out, but when I started seeing people...
Call the names. Genji! Genji!
He might have done it a little bit, but when I started seeing people just ignoring the runner to get kills or, so many betrayals on defense, it's just... Oh, man, that was frustrating. I don't want anyone to think that I didn't... I enjoyed my season. Hybrid Theory was a really fun team, but it was by far the biggest.
Yeah, shout out. I don't remember who said it, but to close the Hybrid Theory chapter out for good, I remember someone was like, "You got Piggies, you got Silva, you got you got Genji and Easy." He's like, "That's so unfair."
Yeah,
and they missed playoffs.
That was lifesaver, man. It's the vet effect. I'm telling you.
Yeah, Pro is so stacked.
Man, I call it.
I'm I've played this game the least amount out of probably at least the majority of the bid pool, and people just bid on me because my name's Piggies. I mean, it's just how it goes. It's unfortunate. I really want to go Ammy next season, man.
Yo, same. I told my teammate. I was telling Rage, I believe. I was like, yo, I don't care if we win. I don't care if we lose. I'm gonna force myself to go to Ammy next season. I'm gonna pick up Wolverine. I'm gonna pick up Venom. I'm gonna pick. I don't want to pick up Mungo. I'm gonna probably get I don't know, somebody who's not bad, and then I'm just gonna wreck Ammy and then win an Ammy championship so I can feel better about myself. But we're gonna talk about it because we do have our guest here. His name's Dcleak, the defensive god. The man, the myth, the legend. I call all the guests that we have, but Dcleak, man, you guys came out of nowhere. You guys won a lot of important games. I mean, you guys came in. You guys were very unsuspecting. I don't think anybody thought Tonga was going to come back and make that big of an impact. But you guys are currently playing Vital Signs in the first round of playoffs, apparently. So how do you feel about your team in general and your chances against Vital Signs, who are arguably the second best team in the league despite the record, or the first?
Honestly,
if you ask certain people. Oh yeah.
I think we 2-1 like our series against them. I think the biggest issue we have is Rain is a good tank. Nets gets streaky. Oogie can punch God apparently. And we're just trying to figure out how to get to them, how to slow them down, and hey, score some goals because they're fucking good.
Yeah, they're hella good. But my biggest problem is you guys are on a win streak. You guys came in fire coming into the season. You guys are going to go, into the pro playoffs. Sorry, I'm kind of tripping over my words at this point. You guys are going into the playoffs on a win streak. And does that kind of are you guys going to come in overly confident? Do you guys feel that kind of puts a lot of pressure on you to keep winning games? Because, people who go on win streaks, obviously, it's going to have to end at some point. So are you worried about, losing to Vital Signs at all? Is there any worries you have?
Not really. Like, if we lose, we lose. Nothing we can do about it. We weren't good enough that day. But
dang.
That's it.
So you're gonna say yo, if you face this on a Tuesday on a 2 p.m. afternoon, right after I faced my flaming yon lunch, you guys won the one. We would have beat you. That's how I feel.
If we weren't good enough that day, we weren't good enough that day. Nothing we can do to change it.
Tell me to face you another day, man. That's what I would have done. Oh man, you guys got to set it up perfectly. I want my stuff played on a Thursday evening. I don't want it at 6 p.m. I want it on an evening.
I still have no idea when our game's going to be played. I don't know when it's supposed to be scheduled.
I
kind of just show up, and that's been my motto this entire season, just show up and play.
Yo, hold on. I just have to say something. Do you guys remember the first podcast, The Good Pig, Bad Panda? And I said, if Tonga comes back, they're going to be fine.
Yeah.
I just want to say that Rage can suck it. That's all I want to say. So,
you know what?
I called it, man.
I would say, yeah, don't talk to my teammate like that, but, I hate you, Rage. I hate you. I hate you.
It is Rage.
But, yeah, exactly. No, but just to get in on this a little bit, I really think
mm-hmm.
See, for some reason, I don't know. There was some miscommunication in the chat box a couple days ago about where the standings were. So I thought it was going to be 1-1 Vital Signs first round.
Yeah.
But I hope Impulse beats Vital Signs because no offense to them, but I don't want. But yeah, no offense to them, but tanking games are so boring to watch.
Oh, they are.
And I think Dcleak, listen to me. When you tank against Rain, just stand in front of him, bro, because he's not going to go forward. Okay, that's how you handle Rain. Let people around you, like your entire team, whoever's dancing Rain, just don't go forward. Pick up the kills around Rain, and you'll be fine. Like, that's all you need to do.
All right, Kevin.
See, I don't know if I could be wrong here, Noplex, but have you subbed in for both Impulse and Vital Signs? I know you subbed in for Vital Signs, but what's your take on this playoff series? Do you believe that Vital Signs, I know for sure you subbed in for Vital Signs. Do you feel Vital Signs really does have what it takes to beat Impulse, maybe stomp them? Because that's what a lot of people, are starting to see. Maybe Vital Signs is just going to run them over. How do you feel about it, Noplex?
Yeah, well, not to revert on what you're saying, I was going to say a little bit something about Hybrid Theory when y'all were talking about them. The only thing I was going to say about that was Pig is I think Pig had too high of a bar coming into this season. The only thing I'm going to say about that is, you got to really look at the season she's played, and she's had 4 seasons played with 2 ships, and the earliest she's ever been knocked out is the semis. And we're probably going to make playoffs or whatever, but Pro was really stacked this season, and I like that. So I'm just going to hashtag moving on from that so I can get to your question. Yeah. Not seem like a Dodger, but
no, it's fine. I kind of left you out. I apologize. Keep going.
No, you're good. Well, yeah, I didn't get a chance to sub for Impulse. I almost did, but then I think Tonga showed up right as their games were going to start.
Oh, yeah, you did.
But I did sub for Vital Signs. And I think what makes them good is, for an example, whenever I sub for them, it was like I didn't have to do anything different at all, even though I hadn't played pro this season. I just kind of plugged right in there, like as a defender, because they got Oogie. They have the set runner, which I'm familiar with that offense, playing with Tonga before. They got Rain, who's obviously their, Slayer. And you got Nets as the glue that holds that team together, and Rose, who, sometimes you have to have somebody on that team to soak up deaths. I've been that person many times. Just someone to get key kills here and there, maybe just positioning, move up on the spawn. I think they really match up well as, two teams that run an offense to their runner. As a defender, I've always saw it as a way to, to try to disrupt that, getting the ball back to their set runner. I think that's an advantage they can play off of, but I don't know. As far as saying, can this team beat that team? It's playoffs. Anything can happen. I mean, literally anything can happen. I mean, you look back at Summer League 13, it's just like, I don't know. I could talk about bid league history and stuff like that for days, so I don't want to get on that kind of tangent. But I mean, really anything can happen. Predictions?
Definitely.
Yeah, I want to do predictions, man.
Yeah, that's what I was actually going to get into because I want to
sorry.
give everyone sense. No, it's fine. It's fine. But I want to talk about the predictions. What do you guys think is going to happen? Especially
Dcleak. Yeah,
we already know. Dcleak. What do you think is
going 2-1 for us? Hopefully.
Okay. All right.
They're a good team. We're going to struggle, but we're going to win out.
I think I'd agree with that. I think that's pretty solid. I have a lot of faith in Ace. Plus, like Larry pointed out, you guys are coming off, a ton of wins. I think y'all got some momentum. So I'd give it 2-1 to Impulse.
What about you, Noplex?
All I'm gonna say is I want to watch this series. I think it's gonna be a good one.
Oh, don't play it passive.
I'm not. I really want to see this series because it's two similar style teams, and you got the VS who's been beasting it all season, and then Impulse kind of went dead for a while, and they're awake again now. It's gonna be good. I think. I don't know. I just feel like I guess I'll be the devil's advocate here and say VS wins 2-1.
Oh, I like that. As in, for my prediction, I'm sorry. I'm just going to go purely based off the fact of experience, and you look at the experiences of both teams. I feel Adorbilize and Ugloff. I know Ugloff. I apologize here, man. I got nothing but love for you. I definitely developed a newfound respect for you as a player, and I think you're a god. But, I mean, it's the playoffs. A lot of people, nerves gets into people's systems. Like, that's the same reason why Tariq didn't do well this season. I really, as much as he tells me that he does not get nervous, I still feel like he gets nervous, but I think Impulse has that playoff experience. Dcleak never gets nervous. He's lost and he's won so much that it doesn't matter if he wins or loses this one. Like you just heard him. He's like, if he loses, he loses. It doesn't matter. And then, of course, Ace, he's got nerves of steel. He doesn't care. He's lost. He's won. He doesn't care. And in Tonga, he's already won a championship. They're carefree in a sense that they're like, oh, if we lose, whatever. We've only got stuff to gain here, and that's their outlook looking into it. But we got a new experienced player, kind of like Adorbilize, and you got Ugloff. He's never really been in playoffs like this. He's definitely going to get nervous. He's definitely going to be like, yo. This is, if we lose, oh God, it's the end of the season. Maybe I'll never get this opportunity again because, he's still a fairly new player like me. I'm definitely going to go with Impulse purely based off the fact that they're way more playoff experienced. Outside, honestly, I don't care what you say about Summer League 16. Tonga, Ace, Dcleak have way more playoff experience than 3 people on Vital Signs who have never made playoffs. I mean, I know Rain made playoffs last season, but he hasn't made playoffs in a long time outside of that season. So I'm definitely going to choose Impulse, and I'm going to go 2-1. I'm going to play it safe like you guys, and I definitely have my favor towards Impulse, and I think overall they're a better team. And let's talk about the 1 versus 4. The next dimension, they powered through, and they managed to get that 4 seed, and I'm a little mad about it because, Tariq, he's my boy, but I want to see him lose because I'm a terrible friend. So, 1-hit wonders versus Next Dimension. How do you guys feel about it? Noplex, go.
I feel like, I subbed in against Next Dimension in a game that I helped, believe it was, that's who I subbed in with Vital Signs to play against. They were a really tough team. It felt like they kind of sputtered into playoffs, I know they didn't want to get knocked out, and even as much as Denny wanted Tariq to get knocked out so he could make fun of him, and, we all enjoy that. But I think they really kind of sputtered into playoffs, and One Hit Wonders has kind of they kind of broke out this season. I think at preseason with rosters, people were a little unsure, but then y'all just kind of went on a tear and started beating everyone. I think that also in this case, the teams are somewhat similar. I mean, they have the runner, they have the swing player, they have the main tank, the playmaker, sort of like one-hit wonders are set up. I don't know. I just think y'all are pretty hot right now. It's going to be hard to put out that flame. I take one-hit wonders in the series.
What do you have it? 2-0, 2-1?
I would love a 2-1 series always. 3 games or better, even though that's when the greasing starts, past sweating.
Yeah, the crust of it. Nah, here's the thing. There's levels to it, man. They're sweating, and then the sweat gets so severe that it turns into grease, and then the grease hardens and turns into crust. And you don't want to get past that point. I've seen games get like that, and it's very gross. That's a very gross experience. Piggies, you played against both these teams. I don't know how you guys fared this season against them, but what's your opinion on the one-hit wonders versus Next Dimension playoff series? How do you feel about that one?
I think there are too many good swords on one-hit wonders for killers to handle, to be honest with you. He's not a bad runner. It's just I think he makes sometimes silly decisions, as killers has always done. So, I just think there's too many good swords on one-hit wonders. Now, man, it's really hard for me to count them out because Galvanator is just ridiculous. But I think that your guys' playstyle counters theirs very, very well. So I'd probably give it to one-hit wonders 2-1. Honestly, if they didn't have Galvanator, like if they had somebody else other than like Ace, I would probably give you guys a 2-0. But I think Galvanator will be able to force something.
Yeah.
But I just don't think. I don't know. They don't have the depth one-hit wonders does, in my opinion. Like you said, I think Tariq gets nervous because he's a good player, but sometimes he just doesn't seem to show up. I think their big downfall, if I'm honest, is going to be Killers' running. I just think that, like I said, there's just too many good swords on one-hit wonders. I don't think they've figured out how to handle that. So I'm going to give it to one-hit wonders 2-1.
So Dcleak, how do you feel about one-hit wonders versus Next Dimension?
That's honestly a hard game because how do you go against Galvanator and Tariq? Galvy's honest argument maybe the best overall player, even over Sonic.
Definitely under there. Yeah.
Dude gets lunges like crazy, and it's just honestly to me, it's which of the back two of both teams fails more. Like, does Sab and Venom play worse, or do Viper and Killers play worse? That's kind of decide the game for me.
So what do you guys? What do you think it's going to be?
I think you guys one-hit wonders 2-1 over Next Dimension. I just think somehow you guys are going to put it together.
Maybe this is just a confidence factor for me. Maybe it's not. But I honestly think it's going to be a 2-0 towards Next Dimension.
You also calling
it's the twist. The twist. I really do think Next Dimension kind of has our numbers, and our practice isn't really there because the only people who really communicate, despite Gio and I being really good friends, Venom and I don't talk the same way as we used to. We definitely don't have that communication. Sab, pretty much every time he gets off, it's over. You're not going to hear from him until next week. He's a Tuesday, Wednesday guy, and none of us, maybe Rage a little bit, are friends with him. So we definitely don't have that communication factor. We don't have the practice factor. And it's usually just Rage and I talking about it. Rage and I are usually the ones in practice. We're usually the ones, getting the games in and trying to feel fresh and stuff. But at the same time, our, in Killers liabilities, but Galvanator and Tariq know how to counter swords so well, and I feel that Venom just doesn't know how to put the sword away. And I honestly have faith in him because he's a really good player and I love how he plays and he's my boy. But at the same time, I really do feel that Next Dimension kind of just has our number. I know we were kind of playing around in the last game of the season when we lost 5-0 to them, but I feel like that really shows a lot. And Rage didn't do too hot that game. We went in cold, but it's that confidence level. We lost back-to-back games coming into playoffs, and I feel like that kind of hurts your confidence. Rage is like, oh, well, you don't want to go into playoffs on a win streak, but that confidence level, people don't really take confidence into a factor. I don't like letting people, especially teams, like I know Vital Signs likes to practice a lot in scrimmages and customs, and when they beat us or anybody, I kind of like, yo, why are we losing to them? And then they're like, oh no, it's fine. It's just a scrim. It's just a custom. But at the same time, Vital Signs is getting confidence from this. They're starting to feel a lot better about themselves. And there's two people you want to be scared of in life. And it's the super confident people and the people who have nothing to lose. And when you're going up against Next Dimension, they're kind of counted out. They have nothing to lose, and they have that confidence going into the playoffs. So it's definitely got two scary traits of a human being that are frightening going into the playoffs. And I just got to give Next Dimension the edge in that playoff series, despite being a one-hit wonder. So next
hold on, just really quick. Next Dimension played a game recently where Galvanator went like plus 70, but that was
against us.
That was against you guys.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, but I do want to say this about Galvanator. Okay, I love Ace Be Silent. He's my boy. I play with him a little bit. And I'll tell you this much, though. Nets, I don't know if you're going to listen to this. I have no idea. But Nets has the mommiest goggles you'll ever see in your life. In his eyes, his friends are some of the best. Like, he loves his friends. And I like that you love your friends and all. But it's time to face the facts. I'm going to have to hit him with what that guy said on ESPN about Tom Brady. You're not going to be amazing your entire career in anything. Is Ace still good? Is he still the second best player in the league? Yes. Is he still better than me? Yes. He's still better than Dcleak? Yeah, he's still better than a lot of people. But at the same time, it's about time that you kind of have to say better player in Halo 5 than Ace Be Silent is. And I'm finally going to have to be the first one to say this because I did the top 25 official list. I've seen everyone's top 25, a lot of people's. And everyone always has Ace at number 1. But it's about time that I take Ace, move it to number 2, and I put Galvanator.
Wow.
Galvanator's the best player in the league. It is tough, but I had to make that decision. I was thinking, I was like, man.
When it's time to pass the torch, it's time. I mean, it is what it is.
It all happens, man. Exactly. I feel like the only people on Arc that really hasn't taken a step back is probably Rain. I feel like Rain's the only player on Arc that's really improved. Maybe Nets a little bit, but I feel like people like Tonga, because I was talking about it with Dcleak. I was just like, that type of running. I mean, ball possession's good and all. That running will always work, but that running where you jump in and then you thrust her back, that doesn't really work anymore. It worked back when people weren't, expecting it, but everyone expects it out of Tonga now, so it's not going to work the same way. But at the same time, things are coming in with those. People are starting to figure out the game a lot more. And I hate to use this argument because they're still really good. Everyone is amazing. But it's coming to that point where people are starting to learn the game a little bit more. So they're starting to fill out a little bit. Their placings are starting to be, solidified and starting to look more natural instead of having the top 10 best players and have 6 of the Arc players on the top 10. So it's definitely good to see some new talent kind of taking over. So, good on Galvanator. But I don't want to talk about just pro all the time. We got to give the Amsters, the Ammysters some love. And I don't want to talk about all the Ammy teams, obviously. I do not, because there are a lot of teams, Eclipse, Oblivion, Reflex, Bad Intentions. I kind of want to, and I don't, you know what, Zero Gravity, Wrecking Crew, pretty much, I'll go Hyperdrive and Secret Society, and throw them all in the trash. So we're going to talk about the good teams. We're going to talk about Legendary. We're going to talk about Underrated. We're going to talk about Aftershock and the turnaround they've made. And we're going to talk about Defiance. So Defiance is obviously, I want to talk about Defiance first. Defiance is obviously the best in their conference by millions and millions and millions of miles. They're 9-1, and the second best team is Secret Society with a 4-5. But stupid enough, 8 teams make playoffs out of 12. which is stupid. That should never be happening. It only works in pro because there's only 6 teams. But Defiance is 9-1. They've beaten some really strong teams. They've actually beaten Legendary. Talk about that, Noplex, since you're on Legendary. How do you feel about losing to Defiance?
To start off the Ammy talk, I just want to go ahead and lead out with, shameless self-plug. I just want to go pro. Please pick me up next season. Okay, anyways.
Pick up
Moving
Noplex.
past that.
Let me go, Ammy fam. All right, anyways. Keep going.
I can definitely get into some deep analysis in here about Ammy. I definitely haven't been playing tons of customs every night, trying to get in customs with everybody. But as far as what I could see in games, the Defiance game, when we played them, Ray is a stickler about everybody playing an even amount of games in the season. And while that's how he is, it's no excuse. They brought their A game and we didn't. It wasn't like once the first round was over, it was pretty much like it was already over almost in a way. And you never really want to say that, but that's just kind of the vibe it was. And I tried all game to get at Rice and I just couldn't get at him. He was punching me anytime I tried to go after him on defense. They held the ball really well. We just played sloppy, and they took advantage of it. I think we lost the ball on the plate early in the first round, and we just gave up a goal, and it just kind of set the tone for the rest of the game. But, as we know, playoffs is different. It's a whole new season, and, anything can happen in playoffs, but I really see us as a number 3 team right now. I feel Underrated is a number 1 favorite, and I feel Defiance is right there at number 2. With us at number 3. That's the way I feel it. That's the way I see it right now.
So Dcleak and Piggies, you guys are pros, but you guys don't play a whole lot of customs. I mean, I've seen you guys a lot more in customs, and you guys definitely have improved. But do you guys play enough slide game type with people like Relic, Trespass, Rice? Have you played any customs with them? Because Defiance, obviously they're an Ammy team, so they play a lot of slides. So what's your guys' opinion on Defiance as a team? You guys decide who wants to go first on this topic. Let's just go with Piggies because I don't want to cause a confusion here.
So talking about Defiance, who I just want to make sure everybody knows who that is. Their starting lineup is Trespass, about 73 puppies or runner puppies, Relic, and oh my god, you get me Rice, right? Is that
Yeah, that is the current roster.
So, I actually just played some customs with them earlier today. I think I was warming them up for an AGLA game, but, I'm pretty impressed. I'll be honest with you. The only person that I recognize on this team is Runner Puppies. So Trespass has really impressed me. He's gotten a lot better, in my opinion. Relic, he's a question mark for me. I know a lot of people, talk him up and stuff. But I don't know. He's predictable in my opinion. He kind of does the same thing over and over again. But Rice, Rice is really their X factor. He's their variable. I really feel like the games go however well Rice decides to play. Like I was in a party with him earlier today. Sounds like he's kind of a firecracker.
Oh yeah, that's an understatement.
And I feel like if he were to get upset, he'd probably start playing bad.
Oh yeah,
that's just a guess because I don't but that's just how his personality seems to be to me. But that's my opinion on them on Defiance. I think they're pretty good, but I think Legendary and Underrated are slightly better.
Yeah, Dcleak, how do you feel about Defiance as a team?
The only people I really know are Trespass and Puppies, because I tried to pick up Puppies one last time I was captain, and Trespass is announcer now or something.
Yeah.
So I know those two. I've played with Rice a few slide customs. He seems like kind of a gutsy runner, but those either work really well or they fail. And I really never played with Relic, so I can't give you too much of an opinion other than that.
Yeah, I don't want to sit here and talk about Defiance all day, but I want to, give my 2 cents on Defiance and how I feel about them as a team. Honestly, they made a lot of different quirks. Rice came to me and he's like, "What do I need to do to play better? What do I need to do for my team to win?" And I said, "You're exactly in the same position as I was on Notorious. You're kind of doing too much. You just got to let things play into your hand instead of just trying to throw your hand at everything. You got to know when the right time to do something is, and you got to have to build that situational awareness. You can't play the same way you do throughout the entire game. If you start losing, you got to change something up because obviously it's not working. But he needs to learn how to become a leader as a runner, and I'm pretty sure this is like how it is for Ogloff. I know myself and Tonga, we have to direct the tanks. We got to tell them where to go. We got to tell them what we see and what we don't, and you got to communicate. And I feel like if he develops that, he'll become a better player. But I feel like he's still kind of like immature. He's still young. He's only a year younger than I am, so he's not too young. But at the same time, he needs to develop that leadership and kind of that maturity as a player. I know it's just Grifball, but at the same time, you got to, mature. You kind of like, I know I could be, a wild child. I could act retarded. But at the same time, in league games, I definitely put on that focus and I try to become more of a leader. And I feel like Rice is capable of doing that. But it's a matter of his teammates, because that comes into the fact about Inhumane Relic. He doesn't talk in game. He doesn't communicate. He doesn't listen. He listens to music. But the game that they beat against Legendary, talk, and it showed, because Relic is a super talented player, but one of my biggest grievances about Relic is his ability to not talk in game. I feel like that's huge. Communication's so big in Grifball. It's big in anything, really. And the fact that he doesn't do that, it really cripples his team. But the fact that he's talking in game is starting to make a big difference, and they beat the best team, in my opinion, in a pretty huge fashion. I'm pretty sure that was a 5-1 game. Trespass is kind of that same symptom of he is a new captain. He doesn't really know how to, build a team. He kind of like rolled the dice and was like, "Hey, yeah, we got 2 6s. Let's go." That's kind of how he feels at this moment. Yeah. And so Trespass doesn't really know how to. He's not really that leadership. This team lacks leadership. That's really all it does. Like Trespass is, Rage. If I'm doing something stupid, Rage will be like, "Yo, Larry, stop being a dummy. Start in your mind.
Stop being yourself, Larry."
Yeah, he's like, "Yo, stop being a shit, huh?" So he'll tell me to stop doing something, and I'll be like, "Oh," but that's the thing. You need that leadership. You need that person to be like, "Yo, stop being a retard. Yeah, stop working. Stop doing stuff." And Trespass is just not there. And Runner Puppies is not going to be like, "Yo, Rice, do this." No. Puppies is a very passive person. He doesn't like conflict. He's nothing like his brother in my opinion, skill-wise and personality-wise. They're very different people. And this team just lacks leadership. They lack, I don't want to use the term alpha, but they lack it in alpha. They lack a person who's going to call the shots and kind of make the plays for them, because they're all super passive people. I mean, Rice can be an asshole, but he's not going to take control. He's not going to be a leader. So someone's going to have it. Literally, you're just taking a ball and you're just throwing it up in the air and just going to see who catches it. And that's who the leader is that way. So, I'd like to see this team develop some leadership, but we want to talk. I'm going to use that as a transition to talk about Underrated, who was currently second in their conference, Hammer Conference specifically. I know Aftershock has a little bit worse of a record, and we want to talk about Aftershock, but I want to talk about Underrated because this team is the complete opposite of Defiance. They have leadership. How do you guys feel about Underrated? It's Poison Pop-Tart, Invader Zim, Gambit, and Razor as their runner. How do you feel about this team, Noplex, playing against them and actually losing against them? Not to bring up the losses, but I've never been one that will be biased against a team because I played against them and lost or whatever. I'm totally capable of saying a team is better than we are, and they are. I see them as the number one team in the league, no doubt. Defiance number 2, us number 3. I want to go. Yeah, we could talk about Underrated. I feel like, in a way, them and Defiance, they're sort of similar as teams, but they definitely have some differences. Pop-Tart really won in bidding. I mean, he got Dark Soul NATO. A lot of those vets were in the Ammy pool, and some of people were unsure about, like 420. Gesture was a question mark. They had both ended up on our team. There was a lot of vets like that, and he ended up being like friggin' all 7s, a winner, definitely. Razor is someone who ran a while back through Halo 4, I believe, in Bid League. Played in Pro, so he'd been out for a while, and he come back. Pop-Tart's
had his breaking out party in Halo 5. I mean, he's paid his dues. He's graduated. It's party time for Pop Tart. He's killing everybody. It's his time to shine, and it shows. And I feel like whenever Gambit rounds out that team as a fourth, but he's also important because I feel like when Gambit's playing really well, like as long as he's playing better than just decent or meh or average, if he's not tanking it and playing horrible, if Gambit's playing good or even great, they're almost unstoppable. Like they're good in the sense too, because whenever you have the ball and you're trying to push down the court on offense like normal, Pop-Tart literally just throws all of your plans out the window. It's like, no, you have to deal with me now all the time. He comes down the court, he does this thing with the sword, and he's obviously the best sword tank in Ammy. I mean, that's just without question. So I feel that he puts a lot of pressure on your team. Yeah, he basically takes you out of your game in offense, and he requires you to adapt to him constantly. I feel like that's why that makes him good. The last time that they played us and they beat us really badly, I couldn't get the ball away from Razor as much as I tried. Whenever I got close to him, it was almost like sort of playing against VS when they're hot and pro. It was just like they babysat the ball, they didn't give it up, and they beat us. That's just all there is to it.
They're definitely a strong team, yeah, especially with the ball possession. Piggies, I don't know if you played against them, but how do you feel about this team overall? Is there any kinks or any holes in their game?
Well, I mean, I have a lot of faith in Pop-Tart. He's been playing, like Noplex said, Halo 5's his game. That's like where he's really started to shine. And they have a lot. Not a single one of their players. They're all veterans. Yeah, they're all veterans. So, that one game where Dark Soul NATO came in and subbed against Firing Motive's team for Defiance. That was the only time I've seen him play Halo 5, but he destroyed. I guess he's in Beta Zim now, but I can't believe he only went for 10 credits. Like, I don't know how that happened, but he's definitely the pickup of the season for me in Ammy. I mean, he does so well. Razor, I don't have a lot of experience with Razor, which is ironic because he's on my GGL team, but
R.I.P.
RIP, dude. I've heard he's really good. I've heard he's what kind of runner is he? Noplex? He's passive or?
Yeah, he babysits. He's good at it too. Like he basically I mean, I don't have a whole ton of experience playing with him in a lobby, but that's how he used to run, I believe, in pro. He just kind of like walks behind tanks, but I mean, he's not just that. He's very efficient on how he runs the ball. Like he hugs the wall. He calls out to his tanks whenever a defender's coming, and then he squares up and gets the punch when he needs to.
So basically what I'm seeing is this team can either play passy or they can tank people in. Because I think they're all positive on the season except for Razor. So, I don't know. I just think they're dominant. I mean, they can do it all pretty much. It's very rare to see that kind of team, to be honest with you. Most teams tend to be tanky or they tend to be passy playmaking teams. So I think it's going to be hard for someone to knock them out of the league this season. But I think if anyone was going to do it, my bet would probably be on Legendary. But I think if Underrated were to play Defiance, I would give it to Underrated.
What about you, Dcleak? I don't know. I didn't have too much to say about
Pop-Tart and Gambit since like maybe my first or second GGL season. So I've always known those kids. And Pop-Tart's like a really good sword tank in this game. He's really good.
Yeah, he is.
He's like a baby Dcleak, man.
He should be pro, in all honesty.
He should.
Gambit should also be given an opportunity, and I don't know who let Dark Soul NATO go down there.
The same people that let me go?
Probably. There's not enough space, man. There's not enough space.
People were too busy picking up the, Priest. No offense to Priest. Poor Priest.
But you're right.
Torchborn. Big ridiculous. Dude, I'm sorry, Tonga. You may be in playoffs, whatever. But that was the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
He took a gamble and he just didn't work out. It sucks.
I wanted to be on Impulse. That would have been great.
That would have been cool.
That would have been fun.
Still love you,
Tonga. You guys would have had the most depth. Yeah, honestly, it's just at this point when we talk about underrated, I like underrated Don't get me wrong. They're a good team, but at the same time, I feel like Noplex is being a little too humble. Underrated is I don't think they're as good as Legendary. I really don't. I feel that underrated kind of lacks certain stuff. Yeah, yes, Invadazim. Is he a good tank? Yeah, he's a beast of a tank. He's just gonna just swallow you whole, and that's one thing that Secret Society didn't like that I said about them. I said you're too aggressive. You can't play too aggressive against a team that's out tanking you. It's just you can't, and you're just gonna lose. So he's definitely the best tank overall in the league. So it really is up to Gambit and Pop-Tart to really – I know Pop-Tart in Ammy isn't too streaky, but when you talk about someone like Gambit, he's very inconsistent. He can do some cool stuff, and then sometimes he'll do some dumb stuff. But I feel that honestly it's kind of hard to say. From a legendary versus underrated perspective, I feel like that's a good matchup. But if we're just talking about underrated versus the rest of Ammy, they destroy. They're definitely 10 times better than everyone in Ammy. But when you talk about legendary versus underrated, it's definitely a very interesting matchup that you have going there. So when it comes to underrated, I don't know. I like them. I think they're a good team, and I feel like they have really great leadership. I don't really have anything too nice to say about this team that I haven't already said vocally in parties and on stream. So I'm honestly just going to go straight into Aftershock, which is just a little bit below them. And I want to talk about the huge trade that happened. So they traded FS Wolverine. Eclipse did. Eclipse traded FS Wolverine, who's a really amazing Ammy tank. Mungo Pungo, who isn't too good, but he's not retarded. So that's good. War Hero is a really good player. I feel like he's a little too aggressive. I feel like he gets way too nervous in games. And then they traded him for Euphoria, Panther Lily, and John Moe. It doesn't matter. Eclipse did not get the better end of the deal. Rip Eclipse. I feel bad for them, but whatever. It happens. Especially I feel bad for people like BCN and Euphoria, whose seasons kind of got ruined this season because of the kind of situation that we've been in, because it's kind of been a shit show, basically. So, Joe Kids, FS Wolverine, War Hero, and Mungo Pungo. And I don't know if you guys played against them already, but Noplex, what do you feel like is going on there? What do you think is their best thing going for them? What do you think is their worst thing going for them?
One thing I can tell you for 100% certainty is that the first time we played Aftershock was easier than the second time we played Aftershock after the trade. They were the Wolverine Hydro Kids tanking combo was pretty stout. It was hard to get around it, really. I feel the first time we played Aftershock, they were pretty strong because they had Euphoria and Hyde. They played well, but we just kind of basically like a long boxing match. We just kind of outlasted them. Eventually they started to wear down and make mistakes, and then I think we might have got a pass goal on them or something like that. Can't remember for sure, but they're definitely tougher now after the trade. Wolverine's a very good player. I give her that. A very kind person too. She was yeah, she was a pleasure to play with. She was a super nice person.
I don't know if you or Dcleak. I kind of feel bad because I don't know if you guys are too familiar with these players, and I really want to hear you guys' 2 cents though. How do you guys feel about them?
I've played with everybody but War Hero, and FS Wolverine. I'm not sure what she wants to go by. I'm just gonna call her Wolverine. Is probably one of the best tanks in Ammy.
Hell no.
She's so good. Is this her first season?
Yes, she's a rookie.
God, dude, she's so good. I hope she comes up to pro. I really do. I hope she gets there. I would love to see her compete in pro because I've seen her go up against. Now, granted, it was on slide, but I've seen her go me and Gingy were playing together, and we got into a slide custom with her, and I think she went at least as positive as Gingy, which that's pretty good. He wasn't sliding. He wasn't sliding at all. He was just standing there and letting people run into his hammer. But she utilizes the slide. She's good. Hydra Kids is a ridiculously good tank. Mungo's,
betrayal whore. He's a betrayal man. There to collect the betrayals.
Oh man, dude, I wasn't gonna say it. But
I'll say it for you, Mister.
There's maybe a few too many betrayals there, but he's not. I feel like he knows what he should be doing. He's got the awareness and decision making most of the time, but I feel like he just doesn't execute. So, War Hero, I don't really have any idea, but I mean, just between Wolverine and Hydra Kids, their tanking line has to be ridiculous.
Not to interrupt what Dcleak is about to say, but I actually got a very funny story about War Hero real quick. I'll try to make it as quick as possible. But I love War Hero because he's Venom's real life friend. And obviously I'm really good friends with Venom, so I'm really good friends with War Hero. So on Orphanage of Troubled Youth, this is right after I got banned, but I got relieved of my ban for GGL, so I teamed up with War Hero, Venom, and Tank Puppies, and we decided to play. We played against Turquoise Jeep, which was Easy, Sab, Boss, and Killers, and Gingy. But they were playing Killers, I think they were playing Killers, Gingy, Sab, and Boss, right? So they got the stacked-ass team. So we're playing with War Hero, myself, Tank Puppies, and Venom. And I'm not that good yet. Granted, I was awful, and I didn't even want to play. So we're playing against Turquoise Jeep in this GGL matchup, totally expecting to get 5-0'd, and then we somehow win 5-2. We just stomp them. We just playmaking up the ass, just constantly just passing it on them, because let's be honest, that Turquoise Jeep team I just named, outside of like Killers and Sab, no one's gonna stop the pass on that team. Let's be honest. So we ended up winning the game, and of course, Boss is complaining because we have 3 banned players on our team: Puppies, myself, and Venom. He's like, "Yo, man, they got 3 banned players. They shouldn't be allowed to play." It's like, bro, you got 4 superstars on your team, and you just lost to a bunch of scrubs. And honestly, out of all that debacle, one of my favorite quotes of that night is what Killer said. And he's like, "Who the hell is War Hero 1998? And how did I lose to this guy?" And that had me rolling, because War Hero, oh my god. Not to mention, you know what? I'll let Dcleak talk real quick. I just wanted to tell that quick story. Definitely.
Hashtag wrap it up.
Yeah, really. I know. Dcleak pulling a solace on us. Oh, no, there he is.
No,
I can hear him.
I almost fell asleep. But Wolverine looks good. She's probably been pro next season. Joe, if his connection could ever stable out, he has the Pop-Tart issue. If his connection could ever stable out, he would be pro. Because like sooner or later, someone's going to take care of his attitude or not care about it. I have not too much info on War Hero because I've never played with them. And Mungo Pungo, because I heard from DJ and others who was in there, he subbed for them, that he played extremely well and like he was a good coordinator of the game. So I think in the right situation,
yeah,
he should succeed. Yeah. I don't know if it's pro level, but maybe if someone's willing to give him a shot, at this moment I think he stays at Ammy for another season or 2.
See, I'm super familiar with this team, and I just played tons of scrims with them yesterday. I was playing with Wolverine, Mungo. I'm familiar with War Hero. I've known War Hero for almost like 2 to 3 years now. And, Joe and I have known him for a long time. We're not the best of friends, but we tolerate each other. And it's just the energy of that party. And I feel like they have the potential to be really good. I feel like their downfall a little bit on this team is, again, lack of leadership. But I feel like Mungo, here's the thing. Does Mungo betray a lot? Yeah. Is he the betrayal bill collector? Yes, he will betray but granted, everyone on this team will betray you, as I've ran for them in customs, and that's awful. You can't even go for a punch without getting slaughtered. It's like, and then I remember at the end of the game, it said that, I forgot who it said. I think it said Godly Otaku killed me the most. And I was like, wow, that's weird. This game spelled Mungo Pungo wrong. Because this man betrayed me like 10 times. He killed me way more than Otaku did. I can tell you about that much. But anyway, I love Mungo. I feel like Mungo does have the knowledge, and he's really effective on goal line. I really do feel like he's an effective goal line player on both ends of the court. I feel like maybe Mungo's niche is because he does have leadership. I'll give Mungo that. He definitely has that leadership factor that this team needs. And I feel like maybe Mungo should be running and start directing. And I feel like once he gets more experience with the running aspect of the game, I feel like he could be a really passive ball possession type runner. But then again, he does make those certain type of mistakes that do fall through and don't work out for the first. War Hero, I just don't see. I feel like he's at a plateaued. I feel like he has plateaued, and I feel like he'll always be an Ammy player for the pure fact that once he gets worse with every season. And the reason why I say that is because he gets nervous against playing good players, and I don't know why that is. He just does. And now that he's more familiar with the league and who's good and who's not, he tends to do worse and worse. So, and he doesn't really care about being good anymore. So he's pretty much his career is whatever. He'll try to win this season, obviously, but no one really cares about what's going on with War Hero. Wolverine, she's a beast. I like her a lot. I think she's really good. That's all I can say about Hydra. Hydra knows how I feel about him. He's hilarious. I want to say a story so bad, but it has vulgar language that I cannot say. So we're gonna go straight into the legendary team with Noplex, your granddaddy. You got Ray, you got 4-0. This is the depth. Sobriety, you got Noplex, you got Smokey, and you got Jester on this team. It's a very depth team, and everybody on this roster has played a game. Every single one of them. And they're 14-2, very strong record considering the amount of young talent and European talent that this team has. How do you guys feel about Legendary? Let's actually go with Noplex first because he is a legendary player on Legendary. So how do you feel about your team, Noplex?
Barring, I don't know how the group chats or whatever party chats go for underrated, but barring them, we have to be the most fun team in the league. The rookies that have joined our team this season have been having a blast. The honeymooner feeling is kind of going away now because they were started off like I think 13-0 on their first team in Ammy, so they've started out pretty good. They've kind of had those losses and the tough things happen, so the honeymooner period's kind of going away for them now, but they've both expressed a lot of joy from being on this team this season. We've had a really good time with it, and our messages show and stuff like that. And I'd say our strength, obviously, whenever we play a team, we can't outright beat a team tanking right through them, but probably any other way, yeah. We kind of I guess you could say we live and die by the sword. Like, we play aggressive, but that's because of our defending, and I have faith I can get the ball back for our offense, but that hurts us too because we play aggressive. So that's just the way I feel about it. At a play from last night, or from when we played Zero Gravity, it pretty much was a play that summed up our season. I sent the clip to Pig. She saw it. It's kind of like a pass to another pass. It's just literally like cross section of our season. It's like I could definitely tank a little better in Ammy than I would be able to in Pro, but people expected me to have these godly numbers this season. I'm not like that. I just kind of win however I can. If it means I have to tank that game, then I will. If it means I have to try to get some good carrier kills and convert them to scores, I will. But obviously that didn't happen against Underrated or Defiance. But, get another shot at them. We'll see how it goes.
Definitely an interesting team. Piggies, how do you feel about the team?
They're my favorites to take the ship, to be honest with you. Even though I said, Underrated's really good, I just have a lot more faith in Legendary. I think part of that is just, Noplex and Ray are the strongest duo in Ammy. The few times I have played with Sobriety, he's impressed me. Well, okay, so let me ask you this, Noplex. Who's going to be your starting lineup in playoffs?
Oh, man, that's a freaking horrible question to ask. We don't know. That's our problem with the whole rotating everybody. Yeah, that's the problem we have. It's been fun and all like that. So I can give you pretty much a breakdown of everyone on my team and kind of basically who we'd want to play when.
Yeah, okay. So
obviously, yeah, sure. Obviously, myself and Ray, you can probably say all you want about us. We have the running / defending / playmaking down. There's no question about that between us for the most part. We have Jester, who is a strong tank. He doesn't like the ball as much. He mainly likes to tank, and he's always there to be our fourth. If we need him, he comes into the game. He plays. He's the man like that. 4 has a wonky work schedule like he always has, so he hasn't played as much, but he's kind of just what he's always been. He's just a smart player. He doesn't make many mistakes. He's a sound running the ball, throws it back often, stuff like that. Takes his time tanking. He hates Smart Link, by the way. Who would have thought? Then we got the 2 new players. So we got Sobriety and Smokey, who are friends. We didn't have Smokey on our roster at the beginning of the season. We actually had Joe Pro. Smokey was on Wrecking Crew, but we got a trade because Sobriety and Smokey are friends. And play matchmaking together a lot. So we got them both on our team now. Sobriety tells me he's always ran when he's played matchmaking. He's always ran, but he looks like a pretty damn good tank to me if you've played against him. I mean, he's pretty good at it. He says he's always ran, though, and he says that Smokey is the one that's always tanked for him. But whenever I play with him, I feel like it's the opposite. But that's just me. They're just they're sound and rounded players, and I feel like if they play a lot of customs and keep playing customs, they'll kind of have that rough around the edges go away, and then they'll just be super sharp. I haven't really had to direct them or teach them anything like that. They're good players, like defense, throwing the ball back, just general awareness and stuff like that. I mean, they're near perfect. It says a lot for a new player.
So, yeah, it does. Honestly, I definitely got my own idea of how good the team is. I want to get 2K. I want to get Dcleak sense on who he thinks is good and how he feels about Legendary, because I don't want to leave him out. I feel like haven't been incorporating you enough. So
yeah, it's perfectly fine. Like, I show up for games, so Ammy's pretty hard for me to know about. But I know Ray because he's played forever. Noplex also played forever. I played against Jester. I played against 4-0. I don't know too much about Sobriety or Smokey, but from everything Noplex has said right now, they seem like good players. And it's really just what combination they can put together to help them win the big games. Ray can run clutch. Noplex does his defensive thing extremely well. I don't know. They just got to figure out what they're going to do for 4 players on the field to get the win against underrated or whoever they have to face for the ship.
Yeah. When it comes to Legendary and how I feel about this team, because like I said, I'm very familiar. I definitely love Noplex. Noplex is arguably one of my favorite teammates of all time, hands down. He's a lovely person to play with, and he also deals with your bullshit, for lack of a better term. He definitely dealt with my bullshit, because I had a lot of it on Notorious, because I was kind of going through something off of Grifball and stuff, and that was kind of like frustrating to get on games and then just lose. But Noplex kind of handled it in a really good way, I should say. And I feel like Noplex is the leader of this team. Despite Ray playing for so long, he's still a very childish he's a kid, he's just like me. I'm a kid. I'm childish. He's super childish, super passive aggressive, and he's just kind of an asshole. I love Ray, but he's definitely not the leader of this team. But Ray has always been that type of kid. I played with Ray before. I played with him my very first season, and he always calls Sobriety his old pinhead, because I played on him, and he picked me up in the draft. I wasn't expected to be good, and then I go plus 659 in a single season, and I just wow everybody. So he definitely found his new sobriety, and I don't know what it is about Ray, but Ray always gets the most depth teams. Like, every time he plays, it doesn't matter if he's a player, it doesn't matter if he's for example, on Impulse, because I played with him on Impulse in a pro environment, we had a lot of depth. I know PD should have probably benched himself on Impulse, and we've kind of agreed with that later on, but at the time, obviously, you wouldn't think that. But we've always had a lot of depth. He's always been on teams with a lot of depth, and I like that he tries to incorporate all of his players. Personally, I think Ray's the best player. He likes to be modest. Oh yeah, he's modest on the hub, but he's like, oh, I'm not the best. I'm not a player. I'm not the best player. No. Stop. Start talking on the hub how you actually think. You think you're the best player, and that's fine. You're the best player in Ammy. It's cool. So Ray's just like, no, I'm not, whatever.
I don't think he's the best player in Ammy, personally. I love Ray, and he's my teammate. I think Pop-Tart's the best player in Ammy right now.
I would probably agree with that. I'd probably agree with that. Just because Ray, I don't know. Ray's too passive for me, personally. Like, his form of tanking
can't be so aggressive.
Standing there. Well, I don't know. He stands still more than any player I've ever seen play Grifball and tries to works. It does, but he'll do it when he's super far away from you, and it serves almost no purpose. I'm just like, why?
That's a lag for him, don't you think?
There?
Yeah, it is a lot of lag for him.
That's fair. That is very fair.
So, but overall, underrated. Honestly, or not underrated. Legendary, one thing I do got to say that makes me laugh about Legendary all the time. And it's funny because, Sobriety is such a nice guy. He's a new player. I like how he plays. Oh, yeah, just to get all this stuff, because I'm going to talk about 4-0 and all them. But, I'll talk about 4-0 and all these guys real quick. 4-0, he would be so much better if he took advice from other players, because he has certain skill sets. Like, when I play with them on Bomb Squad, we're like, yo, run it. You run it way better than everyone else does, and we can win. No, I don't feel like doing that. Okay, whatever, Ford. Just whatever.
Wow.
Have fun losing. Whatever. Go ahead. I'm writing you off for. Smokey, he's pretty good. I don't have any problems with him. He's a matchmaking kid. He's one of the better matchmaking kids. I like him. Jester, he's just another one of those players that thinks he's bad, but he's pretty good. Whatever. He's just an average. Whatever. So I want to talk about Sobriety. Yeah. Sobriety's really good, but I feel like he gets very discouraged, and I'll tell you why. We'll be playing customs, and I YY a lot because I don't know. I like using my sword and I like using my hammer. I like switching off. And every time I play against this guy, this man always rage quits from the lobby. And then finally he kind of admitted it, because I always have like this stigma about matchmaking kids, like terrible kids like a Tone Militant who would think they're so good. So like I always think they think they're like the greatest people ever. So when I talked to Sobriety, he was such a nice guy, and I was like, oh, I'm sorry. I was like, yo, get on my team. I won't make you rage quit this time, you know? And he was like, oh man, yeah, sure, whatever. Sobriety's such a nice guy, and you know what? I think Sobriety is definitely the X factor on this team. I feel like he's a good player. I think that he is better as a tank because his running consists of a lot of punches, and I feel like he doesn't land those punches consistently enough to be considered a runner. So
it's pretty safe to say I'm the X factor on my team. I mean, I'm not a cocky or boastful or bragging person, but I'm absolutely the X factor on Legendary. Like the plays that we do, I usually direct everyone around and call out stuff if I see it, and that's how we usually make half of our plays happen. I just think it's kind of strange that Sobriety would say he's a runner, but he's so damn good at tanking. It's such a big surprise. There were so many times whenever we're playing, I just follow him. You know, if I have the ball, if I happen to have it, I just follow him. I don't follow anybody else. Feel safe behind him.
Yeah, you could definitely see that he kind of has that transition, because it's kind of weird because every player has their transitionals. Everyone has their transitions. You know, Killers wasn't always a runner, and, you know, there's certain players that weren't always the same player when they first came in. When I first came to the league, I would consider myself a runner. Got into Ammy, sucked. I was like, nah, I'm not a runner. I'm a tank. And then I was a tank, pure tank. And then I kind of became a runner again. Then I went back to being a tank. And then I went from being a tank to now being a runner. And I feel like it's kind of my niche at this point. But, you know, you go through transitional periods. And I feel like Sobriety's kind of going through that, oh, I'm a matchmaking runner to, you know what, I'm a pretty solid Ammy tank. So I like seeing the transitions because it makes you a better player. And you definitely kind of figure yourself out if you try everything out and realize what you need to do. And it's all about the learning process. And I feel like that's how you become a better player. And that's what frustrates me. There's a lot of players that think that they're perfect. You're never going to go anywhere if you think what you're doing is always right. So you always got to see what's not working, and you got to ask a lot of advice. Don't be afraid. Like, Sobriety is not afraid to ask, or BCN is not afraid to ask, hey, I suck at this. Help me. And then when you tell them, they become a beast. Like, look at BCN. BCN, I know he hasn't started this season, but when you play against him in customs, I remember when I first ran into this guy in a custom game. He sucked. And it's great, you know? I'm glad to see that this new wave of players are starting to become better and start to learn what they're doing wrong and realizing that they could become better players. And that's honestly the good thing about it. And I definitely like that Legendary is incorporating a lot of new players like Smokey and Sobriety into the league setup. So good stuff on Legendary. Definitely my favorites to win the championship, no matter how passive and how humble or whatever Noplex and
I'm
Ray
realistic,
are.
Man. I'm realistic. Ray,
I don't know if that's realistic. I don't know. Ray always tries to act like he is, but
no. Ray is the one that's confident. I'm nothing like that. I'm a realist. I look at things in black and white. This is how I am. And from how the season's going, we kind of started off real hot, you know, real good, undefeated and stuff. Beat Underrated in our first game, and that was mostly because of opening day jitters, just the first game, kind of nerves and stuff. And they didn't have Razor in that first game, so it seemed a lot easier. We started off hot and kind of fizzled out, and Underrated kind of started off with that loss. So they kind of like, hey, got that out of the way, moving on. And they just got better and better as the season went on, I feel. And I just feel, I personally feel they're stronger right now. I feel like in a playoff series, anything could happen. We come on a good day, they come on an off day, we could beat them. It could be the other way around too, and they could beat us. I think it could be a 3-game series. I think it could be a good one. Obviously, I want to win because I'm competitive, but yeah, it'll be tough. It'll be a tough road through playoffs for us.
That will ultimately wrap up the player and team talks.
You've been listening to the Grifball Community Podcast. For more information on how you can get involved, head on over to GrifballHub.com. You can also follow us on social media. That's Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at GrifballHub. Tune in to our live streams Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday nights from 6 to 8 p.m. Pacific. That's 9 to 11 Eastern, only on twitch.tv/GrifballHub.
Whipping boy.
Whipping boy, come here, Belvedere.
Come here, whipping boy.
I'll whip your ass, Belvedere.
I see
Podcast right there. End it. We're done. Pro talk.